All right, welcome one and all to BeanSmash Recap Age of Darkness Breaking Dawn Part 1. We have oh so much to talk about, and I really can't afford too much preamble, so let's get right down to it. We are in uncharted territory, folks. I will just let these numbers speak for themselves and the chart here. Obviously, we're looking a little different on this week's final standings. You can see that there's some daylight breaking through the darkness. We have some color returning to the PowerPoint slide deck and the font. I figured Aaron wouldn't like to see his own Christian name in Comic Sans, so I left his font alone. But yeah, some serious effort was applied towards breaking Lucas's curse. And over in the chart, you can see the total damage with the margin between Aaron and Lucas narrowing in terms of overall wins, as well as the margin between myself and Ben narrowing. And just a little different visualization. Check out this graph. This shows our wins per tournament by player, and those names up at the top are really small. But the important thing is the green line is Lucas's, and of course you can see it riding high for most of this chart, but with a gorgeous little decline since really the beginning of July. We haven't really, I haven't really observed that phenomenon until I put it in this chart, so it's cool to see that while the Age of Darkness has been going on for a long time, there has been a steady decline, and boy, we sure would like to see that continue. Now that said, clearly, in the wake of Monday's dispute, we need to define what the Age of Darkness is and when it will end. So here we go. The Age of Darkness refers to the period of time since May 31st during which there has been no tournament with an outright winner other than Lucas Rosenbaum. The chosen one refers to the next person who is not Lucas who will win the tournament outright. What happened last week, or this past Monday rather, was joyous indeed, but the victory was not final because there was no outright winner, and therefore it did not end the Age of Darkness. We're in kind of a very similar scenario to in The Lord of the Rings, where Sauron has been defeated, but Isildur failed to destroy the ring, and therefore the threat of Sauron's power still exists, and only when the ring is destroyed will the new age, the fourth age, begin. That's kind of our deal here, right? Like, Lucas has been he didn't win this past week, but the ring has not been destroyed. Now, of course, despite that, we do have a major update on Signs and Portents. So let's take a look here. Obviously, overall result of the match was a draw between myself and Aaron. 7 wins apiece. Back to our Hebrew numerology, that's the number of completion or perfection. Lucas's streak of first place or tied for first place tournament finishes has been snapped, has been broken at 6 tournaments where he was either the winner or tied for first place, and that of course is the number of incompletion or imperfection. Coincidence? Probably. Fewest wins recorded by Lucas in a tournament in the draft era, though. You saw the line graph before, and obviously most wins recorded by Brendan in a tournament ever, during the draft era or before, as memory serves. And also Ben and We Fit Trainer lost on Flat Zone X, and that feels like it has to mean something. Now, this isn't on the slide, but something new that has occurred to me. Aaron has still not won with Inkling, and I kind of wonder if that is what is holding us back. Like, no matter what we do or how hard we try, that last little thing is what's giving the darkness a foothold. And keeping us in the Age of Darkness. So obviously something we need to keep our eyes on for those of us who read the omens. Okay, we're back to our main characters lists. Before we do anything, I need to confess a few things. First up, I did confuse amigos and compadres last week. Had them switched around. But honestly, it felt right, and when we were talking about it in Cracker Barrel and referring to them the way that I screwed them up on the video. So this week I've made it official. Amigos are characters that we have played 100% of the time in every that we've drafted and played in every round. And compadres are ones that we have played between 80 and 99% of the time. That's not what it was on the last week's slide, but that's what it will be going forward because that's how it has stuck in my brain. So secondly, not only did I mix those two things up, but this chart was wrong last week. This is the same chart of main characters as last time. So Aaron and Ben both have characters incorrectly listed or not listed at all, as the case may be, on this chart. So Banjo and Kazooie should have been one of Ben's amigos, and Min Min should have been Aaron's compadre and is not even represented on this chart. Both of those things were due to a formatting error with how the data was entered 2 tournaments ago that messed up my pivot table, and it has now been corrected. So let's go, that said, let's go to this week's changes and see how that chart is updated, other than being updated to Comic Sans and bright colors. So you can see this week the table is growing smaller, as it has in the last several weeks since we've been looking at it. There is now only one Mierda on the list. That is, of course, Inkling. We've already mentioned that. Everyone on this list lost at least one character from their column after this week's draft. So people are drafting other people's main characters, and we are prioritizing very specific characters, it seems. Overall, there's more green and yellow on the list than there was before, which means the characters that we're picking as our mains are characters we're winning with. And I do have more to say about everyone's best characters later on, but first, we'll go to our BeanSmash Recap. It's a recap within a recap wherein we recollect and express gratitude for the grain-based alcoholic beverages provided each week by members of our generous community, and of course we are sponsored in part, as always, by the Peace Tea for Aaron Foundation. Remember, a peace tea in the hand is worth 2 Boylan's Birch beers in the bush. Now, this past Monday we partook of this hazy pitch IPA by Highwire, brought to us by Ben Rosenbaum. Thank you, Ben. This is billed as Highwire's hazy fruit forward IPA in their flagship line of drinks. If I'm being honest, it wasn't the fruitiest of hazies. I couldn't really tell too much of a difference between this and the high pitch and double high pitch IPAs, which I've had before, both of which are more like a straight up East Coast IPA. In any case, it was delightful, and even at 7.2 ABV and a tall boy at that, it didn't seem to have much detrimental impact to my performance. So good news all around on that one. Yeah, so now I'm back to reality. Oop, there goes gravity. I'm excited to announce a special segment this week. Since I had my best week ever, it led me to think about other bests in recorded BeanSmash history. And so without further ado, let's get into our superlatives segment. Obviously, first up on the screen, we're talking about best characters. This is based on count of wins. So who are the characters that you win with the most often? Let's take a look. Aaron wins with Pyra and Mithra all the freaking time. He's got 5 wins with Pyra and Mithra. It's his best character. Ben, no surprise, Wii Fit Trainer. Wii Fit Trainer, 4 wins. No sweat. Myself, I am 2 characters tied at 3 wins apiece, and that's Captain Falcon and Samus. And Lucas's best character is Lucas with 5 wins. So that is that. Now let's look at our best tournament to date, also by count of wins. So obviously Aaron's best came at the end of May, the last victory before the Age of Darkness. Aaron recorded 8 wins in that tournament. Ben had 2 weeks in August or 2 tournaments in August where he recorded 5 wins, so good month for him. Myself, obviously, this past week, 7 wins, best tournament for me. And Lucas has recorded 2 tournaments on June 11th and July 8th with 9 wins. And nobody else has achieved that number yet. Lucas has done it twice. Next is our best levels by count of wins. This would be a good one for you to remember for next tournament so that you know who to target when a given level is chosen. This one was a little bit more spread out. So Aaron has a 4-way tie between Corneria, Fountain of something. I think I always write it down as Fountain of Wayne, but I think that's a band. Great Plains Tower and Mishima Dojo. It's got 2 wins apiece on each of those 4 levels. Ben's best level is Flat Zone X. 4 wins there. Now, I've only been recording levels for 4 weeks, and I won there this past week, and I've won again there 2 or 3 weeks ago. But so this is actually kind of inferred because I know that 2 of his victories with Wii Fit Trainer before we started recording levels came on Flat Zone X. So Ben's got 4 wins there, just through inference, really. My best level is Temple. I've recorded 3 wins there. And Lucas has 2 levels where he has won 3 times. Those are Great Bay and Super Happy Tree, which we identified in our last BeanSmash recap as his best levels. Now, I'll warn you, these are going to get a little bit more complicated and weird as we go, and I've got a lot of them. So this is our best level picker. Here is who wins the most on levels that they themselves selected. And of course, we only started capturing this past Monday, so we only have 1 week of data for this statistic. Let's just take a look at what we found, though. This past Monday, Aaron won on 2 out of 5 of the levels that he chose. Ben won on 0 out of his 5 levels that he picked, and it's not written here, but 4 out of 5 of the levels that Ben picked were ones that I won. So thanks very much, Ben, for your contribution. For myself, half of the levels I picked this past week I got a win on, and Lucas is the best level picker as of this past Monday. 3 out of 5 of his levels were victories for him. What's next? Okay, Early Bird Worm Getter. This is who wins in round 1 on the randomly selected level. So Aaron has 2 game 1 victories, Ben has 0, I have but 1, and Lucas has 4 game 1 victories. Of course, that mostly comes from his little streak, little 3 tournament streak with Ice Climbers. Next is, I called this one Draft Kings. This one's kind of a little bit tricky to explain, so let me try. I wanted to see for each of us, out of all of our total wins that we've ever recorded, games that we have won, how many of those wins came from characters drafted in the first half of the draft, picks 1 through 10, versus the second half, or the back half of the draft, picks 11 through 21. And here's what I found. So Aaron has recorded a total of 49 wins. 29 of those came from the front half of the draft, and 20 of those came from characters picked in the back half of the draft. Ben is 17 and 10 for his 27 wins. I'm 15 and 6 of my 21 wins, so overwhelmingly the majority of my wins come from characters I pick in the first 10 picks. Lucas, however, is 50-50. 28 wins of his 56 wins. 28 of those from the front half of the draft, 28 from the back half of the draft. So Honey Badger don't care whether he picked the character early or late, he can get a win. And here's the correlation, by the way, between overall win percentage, so just how often you win versus how often you lose, compared with, and that's in the blue column, compared with the thing we were just looking at, percentage of wins from characters in the second half of the draft. So Uh, Basically, the takeaway here is you can see there's kind of a little correlation there. The takeaway is that those of us who have less trouble winning with our later draft picks are the same people who have less trouble winning overall. Shocker, right? Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Finally, we're going to just throw this up here as the Hall of Fame. We have our winningest player, Lucas, with 56 wins total, and our winningest characters with 6 wins apiece, Lucas and Piranha Plant. And that does it for the superlatives, and that does it for the whole slide deck. With this, I take my leave. We all continue to await the arrival of the Chosen One who will restore balance to BeanSmash. And until that day, I say unto you, deuces.